Chosen one, the people who once overlooked you are suddenly paying attention now, and it is not because you changed overnight. It is because something deeper has shifted within you that they can no longer ignore. For a long time you moved through life feeling unseen. You were the one people underestimated, the one they overlooked while giving their attention to everyone else. Many did not check on you when you were struggling. They did not notice your silent battles, your emotional exhaustion, or the nights you questioned whether your life would ever truly change. But God says the season of invisibility is coming to an end. The same people who once ignored your presence are beginning to sense that something about you feels different now. They may not understand it completely, but they can feel your energy changing. They can feel your peace becoming stronger. They can feel your silence carrying a different kind of confidence. Before this message goes any further, type "I see it" if you have noticed people acting differently around you lately. What is happening right now is not random. God has been transforming you quietly behind the scenes while others were distracted by appearances. During the seasons when nobody clapped for you, heaven was building strength inside you that could not be seen on the surface. And now that inner transformation is beginning to reveal itself naturally. People are noticing the way you carry yourself differently. They are noticing that you no longer chase attention the way you once did. You are calmer now, wiser now, and less desperate for validation from those who never truly valued you in the first place. That shift is making people curious. Some are watching silently, some suddenly want access to your life again, and some are trying to understand why your presence feels more powerful than before. But the reason they are paying attention now goes much deeper than you think. And what God is doing in your life is only beginning to unfold. Chosen one, the truth is, many people did not recognize your value while you were going through your hardest seasons, because most people only pay attention to what looks successful on the surface. When you were struggling silently, carrying emotional burdens nobody could see, many of those same people overlooked you as if your presence did not matter. Some only spoke to you when it benefited them. Some disappeared when life became difficult for you. And others watched your pain without ever offering real support. God says you must stop taking that personally, because not everyone has the ability to recognize what heaven is building before it fully reveals itself. There were seasons where your life looked quiet, delayed and uncertain from the outside, but beneath the surface, God was developing strength, wisdom, discernment, and emotional resilience inside you. While people judged your current situation, heaven was preparing your future. That is why so much of your growth happened in silence. God was teaching you how to survive without applause, how to continue moving forward without validation, and how to trust Him even when nobody around you truly understood what you were carrying. There were nights when you felt emotionally invisible, moments where you wanted someone to notice your pain without you having to explain it. You gave your energy to people who barely appreciated your presence. You stayed loyal to individuals who only valued you when you were useful to them. And over time, those experiences slowly taught you the painful difference between being needed and being genuinely valued. God says the isolation you experienced was not meaningless. It was revealing who truly carried your spirit in their heart and who only carried interest in what you could provide. Some people were comfortable ignoring you because they assumed your life would always remain the same. They became familiar with the version of you that struggled, doubted yourself, and stayed emotionally available no matter how poorly you were treated. But now, something has changed. The same people who once dismissed your voice are beginning to feel your absence differently. The same people who overlooked your loyalty are beginning to notice your silence. Type 777. If you survived seasons where you felt completely unseen by the people around you, you must also understand that God sometimes allows hidden seasons because premature attention can destroy developing purpose. If everyone had celebrated you while you were still emotionally unhealed, spiritually unprepared, and mentally exhausted, you might have built your identity around outside approval instead of inner alignment. So heaven allowed you to grow quietly. The closed seasons taught you how to depend on God instead of depending on constant recognition from people. They taught you how to sit with yourself, how to hear your own thoughts clearly, and how to recognize your worth without needing everyone else to confirm it first. And now, because of that growth, your energy carries a different weight than before. Your peace feels stronger. Your presence feels calmer. Your silence feels intentional instead of insecure. People can sense that transformation, even if they cannot explain it logically. This is why attention around you is beginning to shift naturally. But be careful during this season, because not everyone returning to your life carries pure intentions. Some people are not drawn to your healing because they care deeply about you. Some are simply reacting to the change they feel around your energy. Others are noticing that you no longer seek their approval, and that distance is making them curious again. God says discernment matters now more than ever before. Not every reconnection is meant to become permanent access again. Some people ignored your value when your spirit was exhausted. But now they suddenly notice you because your confidence is growing stronger and your peace is becoming visible. That is why you must move carefully and avoid reopening doors that heaven already closed for your protection. The growth happening within you required separation for a reason. Certain people had to lose access to you so your identity could heal without constant interference. You are also beginning to realize something important about yourself during this process. The rejection you experienced did not destroy you the way people expected it to. Instead, it transformed you. Every lonely season sharpened your discernment. Every disappointment strengthened your emotional endurance. Every moment of being ignored forced you to discover your value in deeper ways. God says many people are shocked because they expected your silence to break you. But instead, your silence built you into someone stronger, wiser, calmer, and more spiritually grounded than before. This is why people are suddenly paying attention now. They can feel that you are no longer operating from insecurity, desperation, or emotional dependence. You are becoming more aligned with who God created you to be. And the more that transformation becomes visible, the more certain people around you will realize they underestimated the strength heaven was quietly developing inside you all along. Chosen one, the reason people are suddenly paying attention to you now is not only because your circumstances are beginning to change. It's because your energy, your mindset, and your spirit no longer feel the same as they once did. Something inside you has matured through the seasons of silence, rejection, and emotional isolation you were forced to walk through. God says the greatest transformation happened within you long before anyone else could see evidence of it on the outside. During the seasons when you felt ignored, you slowly began learning lessons that changed the way you carry yourself through life. You stopped explaining yourself to people who misunderstood you. You stopped chasing validation from those who only noticed you when it was convenient for them. You stopped forcing connections that drained your peace and left you emotionally exhausted. And little by little, without even realizing it fully, your spirit began shifting into a stronger and more grounded version of itself. That quiet transformation is now becoming visible to the people around you. You may have noticed recently that your reactions are different than before. Situations that once triggered anxiety no longer control your emotions the same way they used to. Drama that once consumed your energy now feels distant and unnecessary. You have become more selective with your time, your conversations, and the people you allow close to your spirit. This is not arrogance. This is growth. God says you are finally learning the value of protecting your peace instead of sacrificing it just to keep others comfortable. And because of this shift, your presence now carries a different kind of energy. There is a calmness about you that people can feel. There is a confidence developing within you that no longer needs constant approval from others to survive. Even your silence feels different now. It no longer feels like insecurity or sadness. It feels intentional. It feels controlled. It feels powerful. Type ready if you feel yourself becoming emotionally stronger and more peaceful than before. The people around you may not fully understand what changed, but they can sense it. Some are noticing that you no longer react emotionally the way you once did. Others are surprised by how distant you have become from negativity and unnecessary conflict. Some secretly wonder why your energy feels calmer while theirs still feels restless and unsettled. God says your transformation is creating a reaction in people, because your growth forces them to confront the areas within themselves they may still be struggling with. Your peace exposes chaos. Your emotional discipline exposes impulsiveness. Your silence exposes insecurity. And without saying much at all, your presence is beginning to reveal things in others they may not be ready to face yet. This is one reason why some people suddenly seem more curious about your life. They are trying to understand the shift they feel around you. But understand this carefully, because not all attention carries good intentions. Some people are drawn to your growth because they genuinely admire the healing taking place within you. Others are drawn to your energy because they miss the version of you that was easier to manipulate emotionally. God says discernment is extremely important in this season. The more peaceful you become, the more certain individuals may try to regain access to your energy. They may suddenly act supportive after years of emotional distance. They may start checking on you more often, watching your life more closely, or trying to reconnect in ways they never did before. But heaven says, not every returning connection deserves full access to the new version of you. Some people ignored your worth while you were struggling because they only recognized value when transformation became visible. That is why you must remain grounded and avoid confusing sudden attention with genuine loyalty. What is happening now is bigger than simple popularity or recognition. God is teaching you how to carry quiet power. Real growth does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes the strongest transformation happens through stillness, emotional discipline, and spiritual maturity. You are learning how to move through life without constantly seeking validation from others. You are learning how to stay calm in situations that once overwhelmed your spirit. You are learning how to walk away from environments that no longer align with your peace. And because of that growth, your energy naturally commands more attention now than it did before. People can feel when someone has survived deep emotional battles and come out stronger on the other side. They can feel when someone has stopped operating from fear and insecurity. And whether they admit it openly or not, many around you are beginning to recognize that something powerful has changed within you. The most important thing you must remember is that this transformation did not happen overnight. It was built through every painful season you endured quietly. Every rejection strengthened your discernment. Every lonely night deepened your connection with God. Every moment you were ignored forced you to discover your worth beyond outside approval. This is why your growth feels different now. It is not shallow confidence built on attention. It is deep confidence built on survival, healing, and spiritual alignment. And the more you continue growing into the person God has been shaping all along, the more uncomfortable your transformation may become for certain people who only understood you through your old identity. Chosen one. One of the hardest truths you are beginning to understand during this season is that your growth will not inspire everyone the way you hoped it would. Some people will celebrate you openly, but others will quietly become uncomfortable the more they notice your transformation. God says this is not because you have done something wrong. It is because your growth changes the way people see themselves when they stand next to you. The same individuals who once overlooked you now feel something different when they encounter your energy. They notice your calmness. They notice your confidence. They notice that you no longer seek attention or chase approval the way you once did. And while some admire that change, others feel unsettled by it because your transformation reminds them of the areas in their own life where they still feel stuck, fearful, or uncertain. This is why your growth both attracts people and disturbs them at the same time. There are people who became comfortable seeing you struggle because your struggles made them feel secure in comparison. As long as you stayed emotionally exhausted, doubting yourself, and carrying heavy burdens silently, they never felt threatened by your presence. But now your energy has shifted into something stronger and more stable. You no longer react from desperation. You no longer shrink yourself to fit into spaces that never appreciated your value. And that quiet confidence is forcing people to see you differently, whether they admit it openly or not. God says some individuals are surprised that you survived the seasons they assumed would break you completely. They expected rejection to destroy your spirit. They expected silence to weaken your confidence. They expected disappointment to leave you bitter and emotionally unstable. But instead, those painful seasons refined you. They deepened your wisdom, strengthened your discernment, and taught you how to carry peace in ways many people around you still struggle to understand. You may also notice that some people suddenly want closer access to your life now that your energy feels different. Conversations that once felt distant suddenly become warmer. Individuals who rarely checked on you before may begin reaching out more often. Some may become unusually curious about your decisions, your plans, or the changes happening in your life. God says be careful not to mistake curiosity for genuine care. Not everyone misses you personally. Some people miss the access they once had to your energy, your loyalty, your emotional availability, or your willingness to constantly pour into them without boundaries. But the version of you that exists now is learning balance, discernment, and emotional protection. You are beginning to understand that constant accessibility is not always healthy, and that protecting your peace is necessary for your growth. Type protected. If you believe God removed certain people from your life for a reason, the truth is your silence has become one of your greatest forms of strength. In the past, you may have felt pressure to explain yourself constantly, defend your choices, or prove your worth to people who underestimated you. But God says your growth has taught you something deeper. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every opinion deserves your emotional energy. And not every relationship deserves unlimited access to your spirit. You are learning how to move quietly without needing everyone to understand your journey. That quietness makes your presence even more powerful because it reveals emotional maturity instead of insecurity. Some people become uncomfortable when they realize they no longer have emotional control over you. Others become unsettled because your boundaries remind them they can no longer approach you carelessly the way they once did. This is why your transformation creates both attraction and discomfort around you. There are also individuals who secretly regret how they treated you during your lower seasons. They see your peace now and realize they misjudged your value while you were struggling. They see your confidence growing and recognize they underestimated your strength. But God says you must resist the temptation to seek revenge, validation, or emotional payback during this season. Your healing is not meant to become another form of bitterness. The greatest response to being overlooked is not proving people wrong through anger. It is continuing to grow peacefully without allowing the past to poison your spirit. Heaven is teaching you how to rise without becoming hardened by everything you survived. As your life continues shifting, your environment will also begin changing naturally. Certain people may drift away because your energy no longer aligns with theirs. Others may attempt to stay close while secretly struggling with jealousy, comparison, or hidden insecurity. This is why discernment remains so important right now. God is teaching you how to recognize genuine support versus emotional attachment disguised as support. Not everyone clapping for you is celebrating from a pure heart. Some are watching because they are trying to understand how you became stronger after everything you endured. Others are watching because they sense that your life is entering a different season entirely. And the truth is, the attention you are receiving now is only the beginning of a much bigger transformation God is still unfolding quietly behind the scenes. Chosen one, the season you are entering now is teaching you something very powerful about your value, your presence, and the way God works through hidden seasons. For a long time you felt invisible. You felt overlooked by people you supported, ignored by individuals you stayed loyal to, and emotionally unseen in moments when you needed understanding the most. There were seasons when you questioned whether your existence even mattered to the people around you because your kindness was taken for granted and your silence was mistaken for weakness. But God says those hidden seasons were never wasted. While others overlooked you, heaven was strengthening you privately. While people underestimated your future, God was developing your spirit in ways that could not be fully seen yet. And now the same people who once ignored your presence are beginning to recognize that something about you has changed deeply. Your energy feels different. Your peace feels stronger. Your confidence feels calmer and more grounded than before. This is what happens when someone survives painful seasons without allowing bitterness to destroy their spirit. You did not become stronger because life was easy. You became stronger because you were forced to grow through rejection, silence, emotional disappointment, and seasons where nobody truly understood what you were carrying internally. There were moments when you had to encourage yourself because nobody else was there to do it for you. There were nights when you cried quietly while still showing strength to the outside world. And despite all of that pressure, you kept moving forward even when your heart felt tired. God says many people never saw the private battles you fought because your growth happened away from attention and applause. But now that inner transformation is becoming visible naturally, you no longer carry yourself with the same insecurity you once did. You no longer seek constant validation from people who failed to appreciate your worth in the first place. Instead, you move with a different kind of peace now. A peace built through survival, healing, and spiritual maturity. Type I receive. If you believe God used your hidden seasons to prepare you for something greater, the beautiful thing about this transformation is that you no longer need revenge to feel powerful. You no longer need to prove your value loudly because your growth already speaks for itself. In the past, rejection may have made you want to explain yourself constantly or seek recognition from those who ignored you. But God says your healing is teaching you quiet confidence. The people who underestimated you can now feel the shift without you needing to announce it. Your presence carries more weight because you stopped chasing attention. Your silence feels stronger because it is no longer rooted in fear or sadness. It is rooted in self-awareness, emotional control, and peace. This is why people suddenly pay attention now. They sense that you are no longer emotionally available to chaos, negativity, or relationships that drain your spirit. They recognize that your energy has become more protected, more intentional, and more aligned with the person God created you to become. As you continue moving forward, you must remain careful not to return emotionally to the version of yourself God already healed you from. Some people may try to reconnect simply because they feel your growth. Others may suddenly become supportive after years of distance. And while some of those connections may be genuine, God says, not every returning relationship deserves unlimited access to your peace. Discernment will continue protecting you in this season. You do not need to become cold toward people, but you must learn the difference between love and unhealthy attachment. The old version of you often overextended yourself trying to keep everyone comfortable, even at the cost of your own emotional well-being. But heaven is teaching you balance now. Protecting your peace is no longer selfish. It is necessary for the life God is building around you. You are also beginning to understand that hidden seasons create a special kind of strength. Anyone can appear confident when life is easy, but real transformation is built through silent endurance. The reason your energy feels different now is because you survived situations that forced you to grow internally instead of depending on external validation. You became wiser through disappointment. You became more discerning through betrayal. You became emotionally stronger through isolation. And because of that process, your presence now carries depth that many people around you can feel immediately. God says this is only the beginning of what He is doing in your life. The attention shifting toward you now is not simply about appearance or circumstance. It is a reflection of the deeper transformation taking place within your spirit. So continue moving forward quietly. Continue protecting your peace. Continue trusting the growth God created within you during the seasons nobody else understood. You are no longer the person who needed constant approval to feel valuable. You are no longer invisible. You are no longer emotionally trapped inside the opinions of people who failed to recognize your worth. The same individuals who ignored you can feel your transformation now because your life carries a different energy than before. And as this next season unfolds, your presence will continue speaking louder than your past ever could.